Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Music, Money, and Life podcast. As always, this podcast is brought to you by howtolicenseyourmusic.com. If you are a musician, if you play in a band, if you're a singer-songwriter, if you write music of any sort, and you want to learn how to license your music in television shows, films, video games, advertisements, and so on, check out my website. It's howtolicenseyourmusic.com. And when you go there on the homepage, there is a little place you can put your email address into, and you can sign up on my newsletter for free. And when you do so, you'll get a free ebook, a free video, and a subscription to a totally free newsletter all about music licensing. So I encourage you to go check that out. Today, I have a really special guest. I have Greg Savage with me. Greg is a professional sound designer, a musician. Greg is an SEO expert. And Greg and I actually created a course together a few months ago called The Art of Sound Design, which is all about the business of sound design and how to get started in that business and how to make money as a sound designer. And today, though, we're going to be talking about something a little different. I wanted to bring Greg on to touch on marketing using social media, using Twitter, using YouTube, how to promote your website, and how to generate more fans and clients via social media. Greg, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Greg. I'm a little under the weather. I've got a little bit of a cold, but I'm hanging in there.
Thanks for having me on the show. I mean, I know we've been trying to coordinate this for some time. I'm glad that we're finally able to do this.
Yeah, no, likewise. I'm glad that we finally made this happen today. Yeah, I was thinking today when I was waiting to talk to you that we've been talking about doing this for, feels like, I don't know, like 3 months or something. It's been been quite a while. So it's been in the works for quite a while. I'm glad to finally have you on the podcast today. It's been a few weeks since I've done a new podcast. My goal with this podcast is to try to do at least one a week, but I've just gotten really busy over the last few weeks and have kind of fallen behind on things, but I'm catching back up. So glad to have you with me today, Greg.
Great.
And Greg, before we get started, there's one other thing I want to mention to everybody listening to this. I don't know if you saw this, Greg, but I just put up a new forum on my website. So if you go to howtolicenseyourmusic.com, there is a button on the top of the page that says forum. And basically the idea is it's completely free, and I want to create a forum where subscribers to my site and listeners to this podcast can go and discuss anything related to the music licensing business. So if you have questions, if you have experiences about licensing your own music that you want to share, the idea is to connect everybody that subscribes to my site. I have close to 10,000 subscribers that check out my newsletter, so I'm hoping I can get at least a few hundred of them to participate in this new forum.
Nice. Yeah, I did not know you had a forum. I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I just put it on my site yesterday, so it's a brand new thing. I have 3 subscribers so far, so I'm hoping that it will take off and grow, and we can connect with each other and share our experiences with each other.
Cool. I will definitely check that out. I love communities. Love them.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm really looking forward to this conversation today, Greg, because I think it's a really important topic, the topic of social media and how you can utilize social media to grow your fan base, to find more clients, and basically make more money with your music. So I think we were going to start talking about Twitter first, right?
Okay. Right. Yes.
So I know you know a lot about Twitter, and I remember when we did the course on sound design, we touched on using Twitter, and you turned me on to some things that I didn't even know you could do with Twitter. Can you kind of give us an overview of how you use Twitter to find clients and grow your fan base?
Yes. Actually, what I do particularly is for people that know Google, I can probably use Google as a great example because Google is a search engine. So what you do is you type something in and Google says, I don't know, but let me show you some people that might be able to help you out. So if you're looking for that kitchen toaster, you type in, black kitchen toaster or whatever type of golf club you're looking for, and it brings you up with all these queries. So you can go check those out. Well, anything with a search bar or a search bracket in it is also a search engine, so to speak. So that's how Twitter is. If you don't know about something, or for the way I use it is when I need to spy on something, and I know spy kind of seems like a dirty word, but if I'm looking for clients or I'm trying to connect with independent film developers or game developers, what I do is I type in indie film developers or anything related around that type of market, whether if it's for film, I'm typing in the latest DSLR camera, because chances are, if I can find people talking about the camera, they're generally talking about movies or projects that they're working on. And from there, if I find a lot of activity, like just for example, there's a Canon camera called the T3i. If I type in T3i, I can see a whole list of people that are mentioning that word T3i. And from time to time, I can also find things called hashtags. So what I'll do is I'll add those hashtags or keywords into a column using a program called TweetDeck. And from then on, since it's marked as a favorite, I can see whenever someone's talking about the T3i. I can also add people to columns too, and I can follow their Twitter activity when they're talking to their fans or when people are talking to them. So that keeps me informed on the latest information about that camera, or people that have projects, or people that are dinking around with that camera. So what I'm doing is I'm spying in, and I'm looking for people that are working on film or they're in film school, and then I engage with them personally. And a lot of times they have their sites in their Twitter description, and I can go ahead and directly email and market to them directly. So that's how I'm kind of using Twitter to engage and or find clients, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you're talking about this primarily in the context of finding clients for your sound design and composition work. How would you, if you're, let's say you're in a band or you're a singer-songwriter and you're just looking to grow your fan base, do you have some ideas on how to use Twitter in that context?
Great question. So here's one thing that bands can do, and I've noticed that it works really good with bands and solo artists, and it might not be what you kind of want to do in the beginning. People are very prideful of their own music. A lot of people want to be original, but the truth is, and I like using Adele for example, because a lot of women, well, not a lot of women, but there's women out there that, they think they sound like XYZ artists. And there's a lot of bands that are really good at, replicating Metallica or, any other band. The thing that you can do with Twitter is you can actually type in the band's name, the artist's name, the, singer's name, the composer's name. And you can actually, if you find people talking about that fan, about that artist, generally, if you are not above doing a cover song, what you can do is you can create the cover song, and then you can begin to engage with the fans that are tweeting and raving about the artist. And typically what you can do is, it's not even guesswork. What you can do is you can just type in the celebrity's name, and you'll find a bunch of people just talking about them. So the thing is, if they're a fan of that artist, and you can make a cover song like, covering that artist, or maybe you even sound like that artist. If they're a fan of Adele or, whatever band it is, they're going to be a fan of you. So the whole scheme of it is to first get the fans hooked onto your sound-alike or your cover song, and then you can slowly branch off and have them cater it all to your sound. But the initial thing is to get that initial rush of fans first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I mean, I could see how that could potentially work. It seems like it would be a lot of work kind of going after, one fan at a time, but you have to start somewhere, right?
Oh, no, it's not even one fan at a time, because, and let me go back to Twitter, because when you do the search, you'll find a bunch of people using certain hashtags. So as long as you're using the hashtag, you're you're in front of everyone that uses that hashtag. So for example, if let's say if I don't even follow Adele, but let's say she came out with a song called, Springtime or something like that. If you made a cover song to Springtime and you had it on YouTube and you said, "Hey, check out my cover song of Adele's Springtime," and you use the hashtags, a bunch of people are going to be curious because they want to see if you've messed it up or if you've done a better job. So they're going to click out of curiosity. And if you're good, they're going to follow you.
They're going to follow you on Twitter, or they're going to follow you on... Are you talking about like linking to a YouTube video? Is that where you want to direct them to ultimately?
Yes, or it could be your web page if you have the YouTube embedded on your web page. So either or, if they like it, they're going to follow you on Twitter, on your email list on your site if you have it set up that way, or on YouTube, or all three.
Okay, I see how that would work. So let's talk a little bit about hashtags, because I have to be honest, I use Twitter, but I feel like I'm just kind of scratching the surface of what I could potentially do with Twitter. I feel like I don't totally understand it, which is why I wanted to bring you on today, Greg.
Sure thing.
Let's talk about using hashtags. So I see people throwing in hashtags a lot. What exactly happens if I tweet something out and then I do hashtag Adele? What exactly happens at that point?
At that point, if it is, and let me rewind a little bit. You can't just put out just any hashtag. So, for example, if you said, "Hey, I got a Gibson guitar," and you put in you hashtag the word guitar. Well, guitar is going to be a very commonly used keyword. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to go into the search. You put in a hashtag, and you can type in what you think is a hashtag, and it'll bring up everything related. Or better yet, don't even use a hashtag. Just type in music into the search, and when it brings up the stream, you can follow everyone talking about music, and you can also see what hashtags they are using. So what I do is I figure if they're using the hashtags, it must be kind of popular. So I'll go ahead and click the hashtag and check the Twitter stream, check the Twitter stream on that hashtag. So if I see it's a hashtag that's updated every couple of seconds, I'll stay away from it, because I fear that if I promote with that hashtag, I'm just going to get lost in the stream. So I'm looking for streams from the hashtags that move at maybe about every 15 minutes or so. So what you would do is, if you're typing in, like for you, for example, if you're promoting your music licensing course or you're sharing a post, there's huge hashtags that result in music licensing, music business, music producer, rapper, songwriter, musicians. Those are all hashtags that people use frequently, but they're not overpopulated. So what happens is the people that are using those hashtags, most of them are also following those hashtags. So if you type in your message and you put those hashtags at the end, or one or two of the hashtags at the end, the people that are following, like you're hitting a mass amount of people are actually seeing that tweet. And if the title is engaging, they're going to click on it because they want to know about it, if that makes sense.
So when you're adding hashtags and you tweet something out, let's say I tweet out something related to music licensing. I've just opened up my Twitter account. I have 8,762 followers on Twitter.
Okay.
So let's say I tweet something out to my list, but then I also put hashtag music licensing. So my tweet not only goes out to my followers, but it goes out to everybody who follows anything related to music licensing. Is that how it works?
Correct. And also, even if they don't follow music licensing and they type in music licensing without the hashtag, it'll still come up, because again, Twitter is a search engine. So it'll still come up in the search criteria when someone types in music licensing.
Okay, but someone has to actively search for music licensing in the search field on Twitter.
Correct. And unless, again, they're following the hashtag stream.
Okay.
And most people are following the hashtag stream, because if you go to it, you actually see people engaging in that hashtag stream. So that's just an example, but it's the same for every hashtag.
Okay.
Especially hashtags that revolve around products. But again, for the artist, At this point with social media, everything that you have in your studio has the potential to make you money. So if you use a Gibson guitar, if you use a certain type of microphone, you can actually use Twitter to tag the company as well as the hashtag. And if it's good enough, a lot of times that company will give you an endorsement deal. I mean, they're not going to pay you like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they'll start giving you free gear just to keep you, just to keep the momentum going. Because as you get more followers and you're promoting their gear, it gets them more sales.
Wow, now that's I've never even thought of that.
Oh yeah, man. There's 15-year-olds. There's 15-year-olds that, I mean, they have endorsement deals by using their cell phones making videos through Samsung because they get so much freaking traffic. And that's not music related, but that's just an example. And you're going to ask a question, but I kind of cut you off.
No, I was just going to ask if you've gotten any endorsement deals.
Yes, I'm endorsed. I'm endorsed actually by Arteria. So not everything that I want, but just about anything that I want, they'll kind of send it from the LA office. They'll go ahead and send it to me. If they got a new drum machine, they got a new synth. If it's not, if they have enough, they'll go ahead and send me a synth and they'll have me sound designing in it.
Okay, nice.
There's also, if you pay attention to YouTube and you type in cover songs, you'll notice that there's a lot of artists there with millions of views or a couple 100,000 views. Those are not fake. Most of those are actually natural searches. Mm-hmm. And even YouTube gives them, there's a how do you say it? There's actually a partnership that YouTube offers where those people are actually getting paid for their views, and people love cover songs. People love cover songs because especially when you do a cover song, you connect with the older artist, depending on who you're covering. You connect with the artist of that time, mm-hmm. as well as the modern time for your sound. Like, for example, if you're trying to cover Aretha Franklin, you're gonna get the curiosity of the older crowd, mm-hmm. as well as the fans of Aretha Franklin, but you're also going to get the curiosity of the younger group. Your what's the word I'm using? Your peers, sure. As well as the fans that you already have. Because your peers that are not your fans, they want to hear how it sounds modern. The older fans are going to be kind of skeptical, but they love Aretha Franklin, so it can't be too good. Again, they're either listening to how good you sound or how bad you sound. And then the people that are already your fans, they're going to click out of curiosity. And so when you start to notice or pay attention to these people that are doing cover songs, you'll notice that there's certain YouTube channels, mm-hmm. that they're not artists at all. What they do is they promote cover songs or they promote independent artists, and they get millions of views. So if you have a song that is good or getting decent amount of traffic, you can actually contact them and say, hey, I'm not sure if you'd be interested in pushing this, but I thought this would be good for your audience. And if it's good, they'll even share it, which is going to get you more views because they're already established in that YouTube sphere, if you want to call it a sphere, but they're already established in the whole YouTube marketplace. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. So you're saying there's actually YouTube channels that aren't necessarily artists. They're just channels that have grown in popularity, and they push other artists that are doing cover songs.
Yes, exactly.
I'm always amazed on YouTube when I'm performing a lot this summer with a girl who is a phenomenal singer, and we're doing a lot of cover songs, which isn't, to be honest, like my favorite thing to do, but like you said, people like cover songs and the gigs pay pretty well. But as we're learning a lot of these songs, we'll just go to YouTube and we'll type in like an Adele song or a Rihanna song. And a lot of times we'll learn the song based on someone else's version of the song, right, because it just pops up in the YouTube search results. But I'm always amazed at how some of these, a lot of the times it's just like some 16-year-old chick in her bedroom with an acoustic guitar, and it'll have like 500,000 hits. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can totally see the possibility in terms of generating fans with YouTube.
Yes.
Do you have any like good examples though of someone who And I know there's a few, sort of well-known stories out there, but do you personally know anyone, or do you have experience of turning these visitors into actual fans that buy original music?
Now, I haven't done it personally, but I have worked with a client that does. And basically, let me tell you exactly how he's doing it. And what he does is he takes the YouTube video and he uploads it to YouTube, but he also embeds it on his website. Mm-hmm. And on the page that he has the song embedded on, he actually has a subscribe button that is off to the right-hand side or the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. And he has people subscribe for free songs, and with a notification, it says something like sign up for a free EP and notification of when my album releases. And gotcha. So by it saying something like that, the person already have it embedded in their brain that, hey, I'm going to sign up. I already like the guy or the girl. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to get a couple free songs and their album's going to drop. So they're already expecting that versus them just signing up to your email list and then you dropping the ball on them. But at the same time is you can embed the video on your website and promote your website rather than the YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And then you can also advertise your own album somewhere on that page as well. Now, as far as how well that converts, that really does depend on how your album relates to whatever you're covering. Unless you already have an established fan base. If you don't already have an established fan base, I mean, it'd be good to do the cover songs, but you also want to start leaking out your own material. So that way you can kind of see how your own style fuse. I mean, if you're already similar to the person that you're covering, you're not going to have a problem getting the conversions. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you do want to use your website, you want to use your email list, and you want to promote your site, but you also want to make sure that you're covering an artist that you do sound that you are kind of similar to. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of hard to convert, someone that sounds like Don King, someone that's a fan of Don King, and you come back sounding like the latest rapper or something like that. Like that's going to be very, very hard to convert.
Yeah, that makes sense. The songs that you cover need to be relevant stylistically to what you're doing.
Exactly. So if you're like a soul singer or something like that, you definitely want to cover Candace, the lady that was just, that just won American Idol. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that makes total sense. I mean, if you're covering like a Rihanna song, but your band plays prog rock, you're probably not going to convert a lot of those Rihanna fans over to buying your original CD.
Exactly. I mean, unless you can do it in a unique way, like, for example, there's been plenty of bands and waltz singers that have covered like Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, but they did it in their own way. They weren't trying to sound like the original song.
Yeah. No, these are great ideas. Do you have any tips in terms of, let's say you're new to using YouTube and you haven't tried doing cover songs. Do you think it's a matter of just doing kind of a cool, unique cover song, putting it up on your YouTube channel? Like how do you sort of separate yourself from the just thousands and thousands of hours of YouTube videos that are uploaded every day?
This is kind of where it kind of comes into a little bit of keyword research, and I'm not going to dive too far into it because I can talk about this for hours. But what you want to do is, and actually a simple way, is I would just search for the song that you're trying to cover. Mm-hmm. And I would look for the shittiest one, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. If that gets a lot of views and you can do a better job, do it.
Yeah.
Also, pay attention to the title that they're using. And if you go to the YouTube channel and you type in, if I don't know the Mac command, but if you're on the PC, you can type in Control-U. And what this does is it brings up an HTML portion of that page. Mm-hmm. And then you can use the Open Apple Find or the Control F and type in the word keywords, and you can see what keywords they're targeting for that video. So in turn, you want to use an engaging title, use the keywords that they're using, and then also use the tag keywords that you found when you looked at the scripting of the site. And if you need me to do a short video that you can lace with your webpage, I can kind of show that. But essentially, what you want to do is you want to look at what other people are doing, and you want to see how you can do a better job.
Yeah. I just had this idea pop into my head as we're having this conversation. I think it would be cool, Greg, if we did some sort of like a little experiment where, I'll start it and because I'm working on a new album this year that should be done in the next couple months or so.
Sure thing.
Obviously all original music, but I'm always looking for unique ways to promote my own music. So I think it would be cool if I did some of these things personally that you're talking about and sort of posted the results on my website, and then I'll bring you back on in a couple months and we'll dissect my results. What do you think?
I think that'd be perfect. I love case studies. I think they're amazing.
And if it's successful, like if it works and it's really effective, we could even possibly do another course together, like just on social media marketing.
Sure thing. And do know though, this probably won't happen from your first video. So you have to do kind of quite a few of them, maybe around 5 to 10 to kind of see where you sit. But it's one of those things where when you first started, because I remember I tried to get a lady on Twitter named Nikki to do this, and she just kind of didn't want to follow through with it, so much. And but when she did do one of her cover songs, like she got an initial boost of maybe 200 views, but she stopped promoting it. Like she didn't do any of the Twitter promo. I think if she would have done the Twitter promotion, she would have got a lot more views out of it, because again, it's almost like you're relying on the devil's advocate to get the traffic. It's one of those things where either you put it out and people are going to say, hey, I'm going to check this out because I like Taylor Swift, or I'm going to check this out because there's no way that they can sound as good as my idol. And a lot of people are looking for you to fail, so they're going to check it out. And when they're surprised by it, those are the ones that actually share the video.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, it seems like the hardest part is getting that initial traction, right? Because I've done this before. I've put up cover songs, versions of songs that I've performed live or have performed in my bedroom and thrown them up on my YouTube channel. And some of them get a few hundred hits, but it doesn't seem to really take off beyond that. But I think one of the issues is probably that, I'm not, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of contemporary music. I really like, classic rock and stuff from the 60s and 70s. So I think those songs probably don't generate as many views in 2013. That's probably part of it. And like you said, also just following through and really focusing on using, this form of marketing. Right.
And it's also a trend thing too. If you notice, whenever and here's a perfect example, and I really hate to throw it out there, but the whole Trayvon and Zimmerman case, and I know this has nothing to do with music, but with that case, anybody that they were following that, anybody that mentioned that on the YouTube channel, you'll notice that's the highest rated video. That's the most views they have on their YouTube channel. Nothing else, just that, because they were following the trend. I mean, you'll know, even with songs, like if a new song came out or any type of thing came out with an artist and you reply to that in a YouTube thing, everyone's interested about it because they want to know about it.
Right.
And that's kind of how music is. So if you're following trends of music, even if you were to, I would say in your situation, you don't like the song, but if you played the instrumental of the song just using your guitar, or laying down some hums or whatever, people would be interested in that, especially if it's a brand new song. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it makes complete sense to me, and I've had a few what I think are pretty unique ideas of ways to do cover songs and ways to create unique videos that I just haven't gotten around to doing. But I would like to, and this conversation is inspiring me. So what I think I'll do is I'll set up some sort of a little YouTube, Twitter marketing experiment, and then I'll set up a page on my website where people can follow my results, and then I'll bring you back on in a few months and see what happens. Okay, and one more thing before you do that. Yeah. Another thing that you might want to notice is the people that are they're getting a lot of traffic doing this.
Yeah.
They're doing this kind of consistently as far as the cover songs, and they also have the more popular ones.
Yeah.
They're using kind of like a close-up shot of themselves. So they have like some type of DSLR camera or some type of close camera where it shows their face all nice and pretty and the background is blurred. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, I have noticed that. It seems like a lot of the videos that I've seen that have generated a lot of views, exactly. It's like just someone in their bedroom, but it's a close-up shot. A lot of times it's a young female, I've noticed, which isn't going to really help me.
No. No, but I can at the end here I can link you to some male guys that are, of course, male guys, but I can link you to some guys that actually they do this as well. And actually what it's called video song. Video songing or video songs. That's what the catchphrase is. It's called a video song.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's I'll link you to a few. There's a few guys that they just sit with their guitar at their keyboard in their bedroom with some lights on in front of a mic, and they just start. It's almost like they're doing a podcast. They're just sitting there zoning out, and people appreciate it. And they become fans of them, and they even ask, when are you dropping an album? And that guy's like, yeah, I'm just doing this for fun. And it's always bad when you see that, especially when someone's actually trying to release an album and they can't. Then you have this guy who does a cover song and everybody wants him to release an album. He's not even interested.
Yeah. Well, for a long time, I've said that to me, it just seems like a way more effective and efficient way to generate new fans is to go on the internet, because you have access to, millions of people. Whereas if you play a live show and you're an unknown artist, maybe you're playing for 50 people. It just seems way more efficient, but it clearly requires a different mindset. And
it does.
I think it requires tapping into, like you said, the current trends and playing cover songs, which a lot of artists don't want to do. But I want to do it. I want to try doing this and really pushing this strategy and, for marketing my own music. So you and I can kind of communicate, we'll email back and forth, and I'll start trying some things, and I'll put up, like I said, a section on my website, and maybe I can figure out a way to get other people involved as well. Other artists that want to try the same strategy, and we can kind of share results and see what happens.
Sure. I think that sounds great. Like I said, I love case studies. I think they're amazing. Thank you, Internet.
Exactly. Well, listen, what other do you have any other tips in terms of utilizing YouTube?
As far as utilizing YouTube, another no, I'm sorry. When you say utilizing YouTube, are you talking about the traffic generation? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just using YouTube to generate more fans and.
Oh, sure. There's a thing called. I'm sure you've left replies on YouTube videos.
Sure.
You do video replies. Video replies, they work really, really well. And the best way to do that is if you find. Now, here's the thing. If you have a bunch of videos on YouTube, the way that it works, and Google changed this a few years ago, people were spamming. So only one of your viewed videos can be used for one video chat at a time. So if somebody was talking about XYZ guitar and you made a video review to that because you were doing a song with that guitar, which is actually a great tip for those of you out there. If a company's talking about their equipment and you have that equipment and you do a nice song or a cover song, you want to do a video response to that company, because they have to see the video before they approve it. Right. So they'll check it out, and as a result, check out your music. Exactly. So you want to do video replies to anything that's related to either the song that you're doing, the equipment that you use, or anything like that. You want to do video replies, but just know that one video reply per video, or one video per video reply. So if you use it one place and you want to use it another place, Google's going to take it from the original place, and you'll have to wait until the other person approves it on the new area. And I think the other tip other two tips, one's really simple, is just continuously generate new videos. The more videos you make, the more Google, and I say Google because Google owns YouTube, they see you, once you start releasing more and more content, they start to zone in on your page, their Google spiders go through and they say, hey, this person is releasing X amount of videos and they're consistent with them. Let's boost them up in the rankings. And the latest thing that has happened, and I wanted to talk about some of the changes, is before you could just do a 2-minute video, and Google had what was called the freshness update. And so if you typed in a bunch of keywords and you made a new video, it would throw you up to the top position for maybe about a day or two, and then it would drop you back down, and then it would naturally find your rankings. It doesn't do that anymore because people were doing a lot of spamming with that. And what they were calculating on is people that were making music or uploading video consistently, and how long the audience is engaging in the video. But by their mind, it's, if people are watching 60% of your video, that's more important than the person that, has a video where they only watch 30%, but it was longer. They recently changed that now. So now the longer videos that have 30% of the audience is paying attention to it gets ranked higher than the 1-minute video that 100% of retention is captured. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're making the videos, the songs are good because typically a song's about 3 to 4 minutes. But if you can do songs or do things that are anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, you'll actually start ranking for whatever words that you're typing into the that you have in your title. And you'll notice, like, you'll type in something in Google and you'll find a cover song that is really close to the original song in the listing of, from the top 10. Have you ever noticed that?
In terms of searching directly in Google?
Yeah, or I'm sorry, not Google, YouTube, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've seen it all the time.
And actually, speaking of Google, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, when you consistently make videos, like if you type in music licensing anywhere in Google, not just the one word, maybe like 2 to 3 keyword phrases of music licensing, especially like music licensing course, you'll notice that me and you actually come up above a lot of web pages that talk about music licensing, because Google actually favors video a little more than they favor text.
And because our content is awesome.
Right. Exactly.
I have noticed that. So, that's an interesting point too, because a lot of what I've been doing in terms of SEO has been for my business, for howtolicenseyourmusic.com. But it sounds like a lot of these same, obviously the same ideas apply to music as well. Exactly. And the way to look at it is music is an art, but it's also a business. And the way that you promote a business is the exact same way you promote your music or any other product, because the platform that you're promoting it on, they don't view it as artistic as we do. They view it as numbers and analytics. That's all they're looking for. Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes complete sense. And it sounds like if there's there's a lot of great ideas that you've brought up, but one of the takeaways that I'm getting is using cover songs more, because obviously if people don't know you and they don't know your music, they're not going to search for you, and you're just going to get lost in the shuffle, so to speak. So it makes complete sense to me that you would, just in the same way that people like to hear cover songs in bars, people like to hear cover songs online as well. And so there's nothing, there's no shame in covering other people's songs in order to generate more traffic that will hopefully find out about your original music, if that's what you're doing. Exactly. And another thing, a lot of people, if you haven't noticed, they like covers of the original song. Not the original song, the instrumental of the song, because a lot of people want to sing or perform, but they can't find the instrumental. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So if you made the instrumental, and I know it sounds like you're stealing, but you're not. You're not selling it. If you make the cover of the original instrumental and you just kind of put it out there for people to download so they can sing over it, you'll get a lot of fans that way too. Because there's a lot of people that want instrumentals. Like for me, I like it for analyzing and recreating. Sure. A couple artists might like it for singing over. And there's also people that just like seeing people recreate music and they become fans. Yeah, maybe I'll try some of that. I'm a pretty good guitar player, so maybe I'll do some instrumental versions with the guitar playing the melody. Right. And that actually might, I'm not a singer, so me
me doing the recreation of the instrumental will be easier for me because I don't sing at all. So I'm not sure what's easier for you, but I mean, it's definitely something that you should definitely check out. And another really good thing, and this has nothing to really do with social media, is making sure you have a clean website.
Yeah.
Like I noticed, like a lot of bands, they're good, they sound good, but the website's horrible. Like it looks like they built it from, I don't know, like I have no idea. It just looks horrible. And one thing that you want to do is, if you're not an experienced coder and you're looking to build a website, if you buy hosting from like GoDaddy.com or Namecheap.com, the hosting's really cheap. I think you're paying like $120 per year, and your domain is only going to be $9 a year. And if you install WordPress, they'll actually walk you through that. There's tons and tons of templates that you can just load up, and all you have to do is create a new page, embed your video, and make that as a landing page. So when they come to your site, you can do an introduction of, telling them who you are or just performing your music.
Yeah. No, I totally concur. I get sent a lot of music for my music marketing company, Renegade Music Marketing. And a lot of times when I get sent a website that looks like it was designed in like 1992.
Yeah. It has like Angel Fire or something like that.
I mean, I usually listen to the music anyways, but 9 times out of 10, if someone's website looks that shitty, like usually the music isn't that good as well, because it's just sort of a reflection, I think, of how much you care about what you're doing. If you can't take the time to create, I mean, it's so easy to design a nice looking website now. So yeah, I agree.
If you can build the website, like most people, they build the website and they just start posting up their albums, and they wonder why they're not getting sales. And it's like, it's one of these things where, musicians don't like to do it, but people love free.
Yep. I'd love to bring you back on. I feel like this is a conversation that we could, I feel like there's a lot more we could cover, and I'd love to bring you back on, like I said, in a couple months. I'm dead serious about doing some sort of an experiment where I use my own music and market it, and try to utilize some of the concepts that we've talked about today. So,
okay.
I will be in touch with you. Let me give this a little thought in terms of how I want to go about this. But when I send this podcast out to my list, when it's ready and edited, I'll try and send something related to what I'm going to do personally. And I don't know. Let me give it some thought, because I'd like to maybe have it open to other artists as well, other people that want to kind of try the same methods. So let me give it a little thought. Like I said, I'm under the weather today and I'm not thinking very clearly, but I will put something together on my end and let you know, and we can be in touch about it.
Sounds great. Sure. Sounds great.
I also want to mention to everybody who's listening to this that, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, Greg and I did a course together a few months ago called The Art of Sound Design, and it turned out really well. It's all about sound design. Greg you make a full-time living primarily as a sound designer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do a little bit of music licensing, but when the licensing is going slow, the sound design is there to pick it up.
Okay, nice. So the course is called The Art of Sound Design, and I'm going to do a special promo just for people who listen to this podcast. So if you go to howtolicenseyourmusic.com/sound design, one word, sound design, you can save 20% off that course. It normally sells for $49.97, but we'll do it for $39.97. So again, howtolicenseyourmusic.com/sound design to check that course out. If people want to learn more about you, Greg, what is your website?
My website is doityourselfmusicbiz.com, which is DIYMUSICBIZ.com.
So definitely go check Greg's website out as well. He has a blog and has lots of interesting ideas about the music business and how to make money with your music. And I thought this was great, Greg. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I definitely want to bring you back on soon and talk more about marketing using social media.
I would love to do that. And also, when you do your plan when you make your plan, just let me know who you're thinking about covering.
Okay.
and I'll kind of do some research for you, and we can go back and forth to try to get you the most optimal results that we can. That way you're not just like shotgunning in the dark.
Yeah, no, if we could keep in touch about it, that would be awesome. What I'm thinking, what I want to do is set up some sort of a blog just dedicated to this little experiment, and then basically just blogging about my results, what I'm trying, how effective or not effective what I'm doing is, and then have other people kind of jump in and do similar experiments and post about it on the blog as well. It's kind of the off the top of my head idea.
Sounds like a great idea.
Awesome. Well, listen, Greg, like I said, I really appreciate this. I've got to let you go. I've got to jump on the phone here, but I like to end all of these podcasts with a song. Usually I play a song from the guest that I have on, but today I'm going to break that rule and play one of my own songs because, like I said in the podcast, I'm working on a new album of my own original music, which is called Homecoming. And so I'm going to play a new song that I just got back from my producer. My producer, by the way, is Gary Gray. A lot of people who follow me on my website probably know him already, but he did a phenomenal job with this track. So this is a track called Headed Home. And Greg, thank you so much for doing this today.
No problem. Thank you so much.
It went away. I turned around, another day like falling rain and melting snow. Either way, the cold winds blow. I'm headed home. I found it and back again. I fell asleep and had a dream, and it turned into the rising sun. Thoughts remain, though came undone. I'm headed home. When innocence is not afraid to turn into something so strange, and more than once I lost my way, I'm still here, though fear remains. I'm headed home. Did you ever hear the one about a boy and a girl he dreamed about? They fell in love and they went far away, sailing to a bright sunny day. They were on their own. It went away, I turned around, another day like falling rain and melting snow.